Well, good afternoon, everybody. We want to welcome you to the National Wilderness Stewardship Alliance webinars. This is a partnership webinar series. We're fortunate enough today to have Tony Richardson from the National Environmental Education Foundation here today to talk about the National Public Lands Day and some tips on how to have a successful Public Lands Day. Just want to make sure that as National Wilderness Stewardship Alliance, of course, is a public nonprofit supporting the wilderness stewardship groups around the country. We're glad that you could join us here today. We really felt that this presentation was important because as a wilderness stewardship group, we should be supporting National Public Lands Day. And NEEF has a number of programs that can help support your stewardship group, and they can also, have some grant resources that you might be able to apply for. So I'm happy today to have Tony Richardson here. Tony has worked with NEEF now for the last year as their Public Lands Day coordinator, great marketeer. He graduated from Evergreen State College with a degree in forest ecology about 4 or 5 years ago. He's worked with the Student Conservation Association. He was a fundraiser with the National Recreation and Park Association up until about a year ago when he started working with NEEF on the National Public Lands Day program. So with no further ado, Tony, I'm going to turn it over to you. And unfortunately, we don't have Tony on the webcam today. He has a webcamless computer that he's working on, but we should be able to hear him. If during the presentation you have any questions, use the question function on your webinar platform to ask questions that we will respond to at the end of the prepared remarks. If you have any technical questions about the GoToWebinar platform, use the chat function and we'll have a conversation and get you fixed up. So with that, Tony, go ahead and turn it over to you.
All right, excellent. Thank you, Randy. So as Randy said, my name is Tony Richardson, and I am the Director of Public Lands Engagement with the National Environmental Education Foundation, or NEEF, as we like to call ourselves. In that role, I am responsible for helping to coordinate the annual National Public Lands Day celebration. And I'm just really excited to be here today. As Randy said, I've been working in public lands pretty much my whole career. I actually got my start when I was about 15 years old, actually doing trail maintenance out in the backcountry through local core groups here in DC, in Massachusetts, out in the redwoods of California. So really happy to be talking with you guys today. My heart and my soul is doing trail work. That's what got me here today. That's what put me on my career trajectory. So love the work that you guys do out in those 757 designated wilderness areas. So National Public Lands Day, and I'm going to start by just giving you guys a little bit of overview information about National Public Lands Day. Then I'm going to talk about National Public Lands Day 2019 and some of the new opportunities and some of the ways that we support this year's NPOD events. Also, you will hear me refer to National Public Lands Day as NPLD. That is the acronym, so you'll probably hear me say that a couple of times during this webinar. And then just one thing, Randy, if you could, if any questions pop up in the Q&A area, if you would just read those out to me, because while I have the presentation open, I can't see the Q&A. So if any questions, please feel free to put any questions that you have about any of the slides, any of the information into there, and then Randy will make sure that those get to me and I will answer those questions. So National Public Lands Day is the largest single-day volunteer effort for America's public lands. Each year we engage hundreds of thousands of volunteers. They come together on the fourth Saturday in September. It is always the fourth Saturday in September to assist with various conservation projects that are designed to restore and or enhance public parks, forests, waterways, and much, much more. from trail maintenance to tree planting to invasive species removal to trash collection to building facilities. We have people that go out and build privies or park benches or other pieces of park infrastructure and things like that. Volunteers of all ages and abilities roll up their sleeves and work side by side to care for America's public lands. One thing that makes National Public Lands Day a little unique as compared to some other nationally recognized service events, such as your National Trails Day or your Earth Day, is that National Public Lands Day is a fee-free day for the National Park Service and other participating federal agencies. And I'll show you who those other agencies are in a second. So on September 28th, you can get into any federally managed public land that charges an entrance fee. You can get into for free on September 28th this year. That is a designation from the Department of Interior. Just to give you guys a snapshot about what we completed last year. So as I said, it's a very large event. Last year, we engaged over 100,000 volunteers. Those volunteers were at events, over 1,176 events across the country. The volunteers gave a total of about 450,000 volunteer hours, and we estimate that the value of those volunteer hours was about $11 million. With so much interest and visibility on our public lands and the maintenance backlog, I think we're into 11 billion, maybe even 12 billion by now. It's really cool to be able to say in just one day, we can give $11 million in volunteer hours back to public lands of all types and sizes. Here's a little bit of the conservation outputs. So one caveat that I want to point out here is that this is only from 30% of total NPOD site managers. As I said, we had over 1,000 events. And we got responses from about 250. So trying to get that higher, but even with only getting responses from 30%, I think that we still got some really, really impressive conservation outputs, as you can see here. Almost 500, over 500,000 pounds of invasive plants removed. Almost 700 miles of trails and rivers maintained. Just some really impressive conservation outputs. And if we could get the amount of NPOD site managers filling out the post-event survey to say a 60 or 70 response rate, then I would bet all of these numbers would more than double. Just a little bit about NEEF. So the National Environmental Education Foundation, we are a congressionally chartered foundation. So we were enacted by Congress in 1990. And we were the result of the Environmental Education Act. We are the sort of one of the similar to the National Park Foundation or the National Forest Foundation. We're similar in that vein of being congressionally chartered. So we've been supporting NPOD for over 20 years now, and these are some of the things that we do. We work with land management agencies at all levels, federal, state, and local, to host NPOD events. We lead the national media efforts to promote NPOD and messaging about the importance of environmental stewardship. We provide marketing and promotional tools out to the field. So if you're interested in hosting an NPOD event, we have a ton of resources and toolkits and templates for you to use. And we also provide sponsorship and funding opportunities to support the great work being done during National Public Lands Day. And this is our crew over here. You can see our boss, front row, center. So as I said earlier, we do work with a bunch of federal partners. These are the federal partners. We have long-standing relationships, and we have, cooperative agreements in place with each of these agencies, which is really, really cool. We get a ton of support from them. I mean, each of these agencies registers hundreds of events every year to help us get to that 1,000 events. Also new for this year, we have a bunch of nonprofit partners. So this is the first time that we've actually gone out and signed MOUs, official MOUs with nonprofit partners in support of National Public Lands Day. And as you can see, one of the first MOUs that we signed was with the National Wilderness Stewardship Alliance. So Very happy to have you guys. And then these are some of the other groups that we work with. Some of these probably are very familiar to you guys. I'm sure you guys probably do work with Conservation Legacy or core groups from the core network and things like that. If anyone is ever interested in sort of connecting with a local chapter of one of these organizations, that is something that NEAT can help you with. So if you wanted to engage SCA, or if you wanted to engage American Hiking Volunteers, local American Hiking Volunteers in your NPOD event, that is something that we can help make those connections. Just let me know. So for 2019, the 26th annual National Public Lands Day will take place on Saturday, September 28th, 2019. So why should you host an event? I've sort of told you guys what NPOD is all about. I told you when it is for this year, but why should you host an event? Well, I have 4 reasons that I want to share with you. There are a multitude of reasons to host an event, but there are 4 top reasons that I would like to share with you right now. So the first is to engage volunteers. Hosting an NPOD event provides a fantastic opportunity to engage the public and on-the-ground service. And a single day, NPOD volunteers can accomplish hundreds of hours of conservation work for an agency or for a site or for a stewardship group, while sparking a conservation ethic, spreading the NPOD brand, and strengthening relationships with their local public land. So just a really great NPOD, sort of being able to engage volunteers. I mean, obviously, you know, if you have a lot of people pulling invasives, you can get a lot more work done, or 100 volunteers can do the same amount of work that, you know, a smaller stewardship group would take months to do. So just really tapping into that volunteer workforce, because we have seen time and time again, we have seen sites leverage that volunteer workforce to actually reach management goals that they need to reach. So it's pretty cool when we see that happen. The second reason is to attract new audiences. With its status as the nation's largest single-day volunteer event for public lands, NPOD receives considerable attention and press at the local and national levels. Its prominence can serve as a catalyst to attract new volunteers and visitors to your public land site, or just to learn more about your stewardship group. Perhaps you guys work at multiple different sites, or maybe there's just one site that you like to work at. Whatever it may be, you can leverage the national interest and excitement in National Public Lands Day to bring out and reach people that you may not normally reach. I'll give you an example. Last year, we partnered with the Park Service, the National Park Service, for our NPOD signature event. That event, we probably had about 300 people. And we asked at the beginning of the event, please raise your hand if you've never been. The event happened at Kenilworth Park, which is a park here in DC. And we said, please raise your hand if you've never been to this park before. And more than half of those 300 people raised their hand. And to me, that just illustrates how effective NPOD can be at getting new audiences and new park users and underrepresented demographics out onto public lands. And then once they're there, they're learning more about your stewardship group. They're learning more about that place. They're learning more about the mental and physical benefits of being outside, all of the good stuff that we want them to know about. But the first step is getting them to the park, right? And NPOD can be a really great way to just get them to the forest or to the park or to the work site. Let NEAT do the work for you. That's why we're here. We want to support you all. We know how for land managers and for stewardship groups and for volunteers, I mean, just people that are doing this type of work, people that are out there in the field, you're in the field. You don't have a lot of time. You're not spending a lot of time in front of a computer. We realize how valuable your time is. And so we have put together a ton of resources, toolkits, as I said, just to support you all and make everything really as straightforward and as easy and as efficient for you all as we can. And I will be walking through some of those resources and things a little bit later, but I did want to point out this NPOD event locator. So this is really cool. Any event that's registered on the NEAT website gets posted to the NPOD event locator. The event locator receives millions of views every fall as volunteers are coming and looking for NPOD events in their community or in their state or that are close to them. Maybe they're going to be taking a trip during National Public Lands Day and they want to see what's going to be going on at their destination and things like that. So this event map or this event locator, we found to be very, very useful for site managers and just getting information about their events out to the public. Also, any event that is registered, not only do you get on the map, but then you get your own individual event page. So you see here, this says this is the name of the event here. If you click on this, it would actually take you to a separate page that is just for that event. And it's fully customizable. You can go in and change the picture. You can go in and change the contact information. You can include links back to your stewardship group's website or to the volunteer registration page or to the photo release for the event. But it's a really cool way to sort of have all NPOD events on one map, but still be customizable for your individual event. And that is free of charge. All you have to do is register your event with us and you get access to that. And then the fourth major reason is once you register for NPOD, you become eligible for NEEF sponsorship and grant making opportunities. So as an environmental foundation, NEEF routinely provides grant funding to on the ground projects. And by registering, as I said, by registering with us, you become eligible to apply for those funding opportunities. If you come to our website, you will often see, you'll see all the different grant opportunities that we have. And when you click on them and start working your way through the application, one question that's on all the applications is, have you registered your NPOD event? And you have to say yes to that before you can move forward with applying for whatever opportunity it is. So just another really great reason to go ahead and register an NPOD event. So those are really the four top reasons to host an NPOD event. I'm going to stop there and just see, Randy, are there any questions that have come in so far?
No, not yet.
All right, excellent. Okay, well, I will keep it moving. So also just wanted to go through some FAQs. So hopefully I have sold you all on NPOD, and now if you're thinking, okay, this sounds pretty interesting, maybe I want to host an NPOD event. Now I'm going to go through some more sort of nuts and bolts and some questions that may be in your mind right now. So the first is, I'm not with the federal public land. Can I still participate in NPOD? Obviously, most of your events, since you guys are working with designated wilderness areas, will be federal lands, but that's not a requirement. As I said, NPOD are public lands of all different types and sizes. We just signed MOUs with Virginia State Park, and Tennessee State Parks, and those are going to be, your local regional parks, and those are going to be things like your municipal parks. So we also have some MOUs with different municipalities for their parks. But just wanted to let you know, if you are thinking, oh, well, maybe I want to host an event in this local community park that's, a 5-minute walk from my house. We love those events as well, public lands of all types. So what kind of work projects apply towards NPOD? Really, any project. It's just any project that benefits public lands can be registered for NPOD. I would say that the majority of projects that we see are focused on tree planting, invasive species removal, bird or bat house construction, trail maintenance, and as I said earlier, park facilities such as front country bathrooms, redoing fire pits, building backcountry privies, things like that. Some public lands do not have the ability to host volunteer events per se, to have that service piece. And in that case, they usually still do an NPOD event, and we'll just focus it on educational programming. So maybe they'll bring people out and do a ranger-led hike, a talk on a public land issue. So these are also options. If you guys are thinking, well, maybe we don't want to have volunteers come out and be picking up tools, or maybe they don't have the skill set. Maybe the project that you're currently working on is a very technical project, and you're worried that volunteers wouldn't have the skills to be able to work on a project of that caliber. Just taking them on a guided hike and saying, hey, these are the types of projects that we work on back here, telling them a little bit about the land. As I said, just getting people, really it's just a celebration of public lands, and we want to be getting people out onto public lands. So, yeah. Are there a minimum number of volunteers required to register an event? Absolutely not. We have everything from 20-person events, 10-person events, all the way up to 500, 1,000-person events that are being held, at like the Grand Canyon and other huge iconic parks like that. So everything in between. No event is ever too small to be registered for NPOD. This is the first time that I'm hosting an NPOD event. Are there resources to help me as I plan? As I said, yes, the website is loaded with helpful resources, tips, and ideas for events, and I will share some of those with you a little bit later. And then the last one is, how can I register my 2019 NPOD event? You can do that by going to this link, and I will make sure that I get Randy a copy of this PowerPoint when I'm done, and he can send it out to all of the participants that are on the call today. But essentially, you want to come to our website. Just give me 1 second here. So this is what the National Public Lands Day for Site Managers page looks like, and you're going to scroll down, and this first text box here, this gray box, is where you're going to register. So if you have never registered an event before, you're going to click register, and that's to actually like create an account with us. It's very simple. It's just going to ask for like contact information. It takes less than 3 minutes to create an account, and then you're going to actually register your event. If you've already been to our website before, if you already have an account, you can simply click sign in. And what's really cool about this system is it will remember all of your information from last year if you've hosted one before. So you won't have to put all that information in again. You can just update it for this year. So that is the way to register an event. It's really straightforward, but of course we are here for any troubleshooting, any customer service. If you have any issues registering your event, just feel free to give me a call, and I can walk you through that registration process. Yeah. So there's one other thing that I wanted to mention here, and that's because we've been talking a lot about dates. And so you may be thinking, oh, I really want to host an NPOD event, but I have a wedding on Saturday, September 28th, so I won't be able to do that. That is okay. While we encourage folks to host their events on National Public Lands Day on September 28th, we actually count any events happening on public land up to 2 weeks before and 2 weeks after National Public Lands Day. So that's anywhere from September 14th through October 12th. September 14th through October 12th. That is sort of the window for NPOD events. And if your event is happening during that window, you can register it on our website, and you are eligible for all these resources and sponsorship opportunities and things like that. So yeah, just wanted to make sure that I mentioned that. No biggie if you want to do your event the week before or the week after. So sponsorship opportunity. So new for this year, we're going to be selecting 30 public land sites to serve as highlighted events. Each of these highlighted events are going to receive a sponsorship package worth an estimated $1,500. So there'll be branded water bottles in there, branded sunglasses, and these are giveaway items that you can give to your volunteers. The sponsorship package also includes a $500 stipend, which you can use on whatever you need to support the event. So if you need transportation, maybe the trailhead to where the trail that you're doing work, maybe it's in sort of a remote area, maybe it's not near a major population center. So you can use that money for transportation and shuttle volunteers to and from the trailhead. You can use it to provide snacks, breakfast and lunch. You can use it to purchase supplies needed for the event. Maybe you need shovels. Maybe you need a new Pulaski. Maybe you need a crosscut. Whatever it may be, that's what that $500 is for. And I encourage each of you to apply for this because I would love to see a lot of NWSA members highlighted through this opportunity. It's just a really great opportunity. I also can let you know that with this being sort of a new opportunity for this year, there has been a lot of interest in it. But as I said, we're looking to prioritize applications that come from one of our partners. So, make sure that on the application you say, I'm a part of the National Wilderness Stewardship Alliance, or you put NWSA somewhere on there so that we know that, because that would get you a few extra bonus points on your application, if you will. So as I said, the sites will get $1,500. And then the actual link to apply is at the bottom of this page. And this is just on the NPOD website. Again, I'll make sure that you guys get all these links and things like that. But yeah, please apply for this, because really want to make sure that this $1,500 or these 30 $1,500 sponsorship packages are going to really high quality events. And then this is the tablecloth. So you'll also, each highlighted event will also get, a banner. It won't look exactly like this, but just to give you an idea. And this was from our signature event last year that we did down at Big Thicket National Preserve outside of Houston, Texas. NPOD coupons. So in addition to September 28th being an entrance fee-free day, we also have these coupons that are given to volunteers as a thank you for coming out and rolling up their sleeves. Since you guys are working on federally designated wilderness areas, any event that's done by one of you at one of those sites would be eligible for these coupons. So this is a really, really great incentive. It's really great for driving volunteer registration. If you're having trouble getting volunteer interest in your event, just tell them, hey, you can get this free coupon. The coupon allows the holder to enter any national park, forest, or other participating federal site free of charge. And an important thing is you don't have to use the coupon where you got the coupon. So for instance, say Randy wanted to host an event, an NWSA event for NPOD. He hosts that event, and it's out in a wilderness area in Oregon somewhere. He has his volunteers comes out, they roll up their sleeves, they get a bunch of great work done. At the end of the event, Randy passes out the NPOD coupons. Now, those volunteers can go to the Grand Canyon, they can go to Zion, they can go to Glacier, they can go to anywhere that they want to go using that coupon, and the coupon is good for up to 1 year. So you can sort of see how that's a really, really great way to incentivize volunteer registration and to get volunteers really excited about our National Public Lands Day. And you can see these are the participating federal agencies here. So any BLM site, MPS site, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, Fish and Wildlife, Forest Service, or Department of Interior, Bureau of Reclamation, any of those agencies will accept the NPOD volunteer coupons. And the deadline to request these is Friday, August 23rd. And you request these coupons when you fill out when you do your registration. So as you work your way through the registration, there's a call out box that says, do you want to receive NPOD coupons? You just need to click yes, and then we'll get the coupons out to you. So there are some requirements for these though, but you guys meet both of them. The requirement is it has to be on federal land and it has to be a service-focused event. Those are the only two requirements. You check those two boxes, we can send you anywhere from 1 up to 500 volunteer coupons. The promotional toolkit. So just talking about like the tools and things that we've put together. This is something that we put up on our website. This is free to download for anyone. And this is the site manager's promotional toolkit. So in here we have logos. If you're putting together an event flyer, if you're putting a post on Facebook, if you're putting out a local press release and you want to include the official National Public Lands Day logo, here it is right here. You can download it horizontal, vertical, whichever format you need. Here are all the download links. We also have media tools, so like an outreach calendar, a press release template, tips for capturing your event on video. We have social media language. So if you are wanting to post things about National Public Lands Day and you don't know what to say, we already have developed it for you. You can just come here and grab one of these, cut and paste it, and you're good to go. Already has the hashtags in there and everything. And then we have longer promotional language. So if you wanted to put together, as I said, a press release, or if you wanted to, this is good language that could be used like to welcome volunteers out to the event or something like that. So again, all of this stuff is available on our website, and yeah, free for you guys to use and download. And so I have a few ideas on how NWSA members could help support National Public Lands Day this year, just a few suggestions. And so the first is obviously to encourage your wilderness stewardship group to host an NPOD event. You know, that's really where it all starts, right? The more events that we can get, the more distribution that we can get, geographic distribution that we can get, the more people that we can engage, always the better. Promote NPOD messaging through your wilderness stewardship group's communication channels, such as social media, or if you guys have like a newsletter, a volunteer newsletter that you send out or something like that. And again, you can use anything that you would like out of the promotional toolkit to help with that. Encourage your wilderness stewardship group to apply for NPOD sponsorship opportunities and other funding opportunities. So NEAF currently does not have a conservation grant out right now, but we are going to be releasing some grants. I would say late summer to early fall. So please check back, be checking our grants website, because we are going to have some opportunities that you all would be able to apply for. And then if you do host an event, if you decide to move forward posting an event, I do ask that you work with me to fill out the post-event survey. I said on, I think it was a much earlier slide, we only got 30% of people to fill out that post-event survey. And if we can get that response rate higher, we'll have better impact numbers, and then those numbers make us all look good. And especially with you all being so experienced and really knowing how to get to those conservation outputs, and with you all sort of having that technical expertise, I would love to be collecting conservation outputs from any events that any NWSA groups decide to move forward with. So yeah, with that was everything that I had. Again, here's my contact information, and I'm always available to sit down, have a chat, shoot me an email. If you want to discuss something in more detail, happy to schedule one-on-one calls. If you want to brainstorm NPOD event ideas or anything like that, just let me know. I'm here to help. So thank you again for having me. And I think now, unless Randy has something else to add, I think now we'll just open the floor for questions. Oh, Randy, I think you may be muted.
Yep, I am muted. That is the curse of these things. So we'll pause for a moment just to see if there are any questions. If you do have questions, please just type them into the question field on your dashboard there. We'll give it a second to have those questions come in. And while we do that, Tony, just want to say thank you for the work you're doing to support public lands and supporting the Public Lands Day events all around the country. It's a great program that you have, and a great way for volunteer groups to get active and energized around a specific event.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you, and thank you for having me come on today. And as I said, we're hoping to make the tent a little bit bigger. There's always room for more folks to come under there. And at the end of the day, National Public Lands Day is a niche program, but I think what really makes National Public Lands Day unique is the fact that folks can take it and they can make it whatever they want, whatever they need for their community or for their park or for their site or for their wilderness stewardship group. It's a really flexible event. And so I hope that all of you guys will join us in making NPOD 2019 one of the biggest and best celebrations of public lands to date.
I think that stewardship groups should also recognize that because of the outstanding promotional materials that NEF provides for National Public Lands Day, that the National Public Lands Day events are a great way to reach out to underserved populations, to really add those new members to your own organizations. I think they create an event atmosphere that is easy for the uninitiated, for the newbie to come out and participate in an event on the public lands. And so I really want to encourage all of our stewardship groups to consider that in your planning for a Public Lands Day event. And I think that Tony would concur.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, yeah, so it doesn't look like we have any questions, but Randy, I will make sure that I get you a copy. Actually, I think you already have a copy of this PowerPoint.
I do have a copy, and
okay, awesome.
Oh, we do have a question coming in. We do have a question coming in. So, all right. So, Tony, here a question from Sarah, who is coordinating multiple Public Land Day events with multiple partners across multiple districts. Awesome. So, is there a way to register before I know all the exact locations and project descriptions, so it's on the radar before all the details are dialed in for the public? So essentially,
great question.
Sarah's putting together multiple events for multiple areas and wants to know if she can do some pre-loading of that information without knowing all the details.
Yes, that's a great question, and the answer is yes. So what you can do is when you go to the NPOD registration, Sarah, you're going to go ahead and just register those events, put in as much information as you can at this time, and then those events will populate on the map. So you can start sort of cultivating some interest, they'll be on the map and things like that. And then what you can do is as you get those details finalized and as you firm up those details, you can go back in and just edit the events that you've registered. So that's the other really cool thing about our system and having an actual account is that you can go in and you can edit any events that you've previously posted. So yeah, you would just go in, put as much information as you can, and then say, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month from now, when you have more information, you would just go in again and update each of those registrations with the new information.
Fantastic. That seems pretty simple and straightforward. I'll ask if there are any other questions from our audience. Well, I'm not seeing any, Tony, so I'm going to say thank you again. And then I want to let folks in our audience know that if you desire or need additional resources, the National Wilderness Stewardship Alliance has currently active a Boots on the Ground grant program that offers small-scale funds of $100 up to $2,000 for trail maintenance projects on the national forest anytime during the summer. It could also be a source of funding to help support a National Public Lands Day event, as long as it was trail related on the national forest. So consider that, and you can get details at our National Wilderness Stewardship Alliance website at wildernessalliance.org. And in July, our next webinar will focus on wilderness character monitoring. We have Julie King from the Forest Service Office of Dealing with Wilderness Character Monitoring, who's going to provide an update on the current status of wilderness character monitoring in the Forest Service. And in October, we're pleased to announce that our National Wilderness Workshop will take place here in Bend, Oregon, in October 23rd through the 26th. And registration is now active on our website where you can get more information. Okay, well, Tony, we do have another question here. So how do you pick who will get the sponsorships? What's the process to determine the sponsorships?
So the sponsorships, as I said, my first priority is to make sure that each of those partners that I showed you on that partner page, so including NWSA, has at least one event. So that's sort of the starting point. Like I know for a fact at least one NWSA group or an event cultivated through NWSA will get one of those. And then beyond that, it really is just on sort of the merits of of the application. So when you fill out the application, we ask like questions like what makes this site unique. So we just got an application from a national battlefield. I'm blanking on the name right now, but they indicated that this was one of the first battlefields to become a National Park Service site. So that was sort of a nice historical veterans angle there. So that's really what we're looking for. We're looking for, of course, we want you to be having a good event, but then it also needs to have sort of a story to it. So if we were to write an article, as I said, and we were to pitch this to USA Today, what would we tell USA Today about your event? I think that's a really, really great way to look at it. So, and it doesn't have to just be the site. Maybe you're engaging an audience that you've never engaged before. Maybe you are working with a partner that you've never worked with before. Those are the type, we just want to look for what's new and innovative about your event for this year. And then we actually have a selection committee that's going to be going through and making selections and telling us which ones they think are sort of the biggest stories. And that's how we will select them. But if you have any questions on, how can I make my application stand out more or anything like that, I'm always happy to discuss those. Feel free to shoot me an email or give me a call and we can talk that through.
All right, Tony. Well, this webinar is being recorded, and it will be placed on our NWSA website in a day or two once that is official. And so people are free to download those webinars, both our past ones, our current ones, and future ones as they come available. So you can also pass this along to other people in your organization or in other organizations that you know. We'll also have an announcement on our Facebook page once the webinar is available for people to review it. So there are lots of opportunities to share this information. I just want to thank everybody who came today. I think we're pretty much going to wrap this up for this particular webinar session. Thanks for your work working with wilderness and public lands. Tony, we want to thank you again for sharing the information today. And everybody have a safe summer out there. So with that, sail on from NWSA.